The year was 1939. The world had not yet fully recovered from the wounds of the First World War when history once again stood at a dangerous turning point. Dark clouds of war began gathering again over the skies of Europe, and humanity was moving toward a storm that would change the entire world. This story is not only about weapons, armies, and battlefields. It is also a story of fear, hope, sacrifice, and human courage. Everything began when on September 1st, 1939, Germany's army crossed the border of Poland. The roar of tanks, the sound of warplanes, and the falling bombs turned a quiet morning into a terrifying war. Within just a few days, major European nations were pulled into the flames, and the Second World War had begun. Germany's leader, Adolf Hitler, dreamed of building an empire that would rule over all of Europe. His armies rapidly captured one country after another. France, Belgium, the Netherlands, many nations fell before German power. The map of Europe began to change, and millions of people were forced to leave their homes. But this war did not remain limited to Europe. Soon it became a global storm. In the East, Japan was expanding its power. In December 1941, when Japan attacked the American naval base at Pearl Harbor, the United States also entered the war. Now it had truly become a world of the entire world. Cities began to be bombed, factories started producing weapons day and night, and millions of young men left their homes and headed toward the battlefields. On the battlefield, tanks thundered, planes tore through the sky, and warships confronted each other across the oceans. But behind all this noise, another story was unfolding, the story of ordinary people. In the eyes of mothers there was waiting, in the hearts of children there was fear, and in the hearts of soldiers there was hope that perhaps one day this war would end. As time passed, the war revealed its darkest face. The oppression and genocide carried out by Nazi Germany took the lives of millions of innocent people. These chapters of history still remind humanity today of how much destruction, hatred, and prejudice can bring. But slowly, the direction of the war began to change. In 1944, Allied forces launched a massive assault on the beaches of France known as D-Day. Thousands of soldiers moved toward the shore through the waves of the sea. This moment was destined to become a major turning point in history. At the same time, in the East, Soviet forces were pushing the German armies back. City by city, front by front, Germany's power began to weaken. Finally, in 1945, the moment arrived when the end of the war in Europe was announced. Hitler's regime collapsed, and Europe breathed a sigh of relief after a long and painful war. But the world was still not completely at peace. In August 1945, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In a single moment, entire cities were reduced to rubble, and humanity witnessed the destructive power of nuclear weapons for the first time. Just a few days later, Japan surrendered, and the Second World War finally came to an end. This war that lasted for 6 years changed the world forever. Tens of millions of lives were lost, cities were destroyed, and humanity saw both its strength and its weakness through its own actions. Yet from this devastation, a new determination also emerged. The world created new institutions for peace, signed new agreements, and tried to build hope for a better future. The Second World War teaches us an important lesson, that power and hatred may change the world, but peace can only be created through understanding, tolerance, and humanity. And perhaps that is why it is important to remember those dark years of history, so that future generations may understand the true cost of war and the true value of peace.